Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here, and in today's video, I'm here in this beautiful October day in northern Utah. Now, northern Utah is not exactly the kind of place where you would expect to see these. Today, we're talking about peppers. We're going to talk a little bit about their history and how ancient people in the southwestern United States and northwestern Mexico cooked them in a way that's simple, incredible, and not a lot of people know about. So let's get into it. And let's talk about the humble pepper. When we use the term pepper, there's a lot of unrelated plants that use that term. So first of all, there's pepper as in salt and pepper. It's totally unrelated to the New World peppers in any way, shape, or form. But European immigrants, when they first had some of the spicy peppers of the New World, that's the only thing they could relate it to. It's like, this has a bite, this has packs a punch to it, and we'll get into that history in just a minute. But so when I'm saying peppers, there's all the spicy peppers of the New World that are actually all very closely related, and then there's the bell peppers. Now, bell peppers like this, they come in many different colors. One of the things that people have a misunderstanding about is some people will say, well, there's red bell peppers, yellow bell peppers, orange bell peppers, and green bell peppers. And then some people say, no, the green bell pepper is actually just an unripe red bell pepper. They're both right. If you go to the grocery store and you buy a green bell pepper, it might be an actual green bell pepper, or it might be an unripe red bell pepper. They sell them both. And so there are green bell peppers that when they are ripe, they are just green. But there are also ones that are just the red ones that are unripe, and they're a bit more bitter. Now, of the modern red bell peppers, all of them were cultivated from an ancestral plant. From our studies in archaeology, we can study residue left and DNA left from some of these at sites, and even seeds. We even have seeds left over. It seems that northern South America and Central America and southern Mexico is where red bell peppers were, thousands of years ago, originally cultivated and domesticated. Then they were selectively bred to be bigger, better, and more nutritious. Of the bell peppers, the red bell pepper is the most nutritious. It packs the most nutrient-dense value for what you have. I love to cook with these. They're not hot. I love to cut them up, put them in a stir fry, put them in a stew, whatever. But we're going to cook them in a very different traditional way. These became trade items. Both the seeds as well the bell peppers themselves. If you imagine what that would be like as a trade item, if you had the traders coming up from Mexico with a basket on their bag, on their backpack, and just hauling up good, amazing trade items, shells and cacao beans. And then one day they bring up a pepper. You're like, what is this? Well, first of all, it's gorgeous. Look how beautiful it is. The color, it's striking. And one of the most amazing things, unlike most red foods, if you cook it, it keeps its color. Most red foods, if you cook it, they get diluted and muted in their colors, and they're not very pretty. This is gorgeous. So when the Europeans started bringing these back over to Europe, at first, Europeans were still obsessed with black pepper. And so they would grow these ornamentally. They're like, this is really pretty, you have bright color. There's also purple ones, I forgot to mention that. So there's red, there's green, there's yellow, there's orange, and there's purple. Purple you don't see as often, but they're all cousins. And again, this came from a very small pepper. It was selectively bred anciently by people in Mesoamerica, and then it was traded northward. In the Southwest, there's all your fancy chili peppers and hot peppers. This isn't hot at all. It's quite sweet. We're going to cook it in the traditional way that Southwestern tribes cooked it. Now again, you can cut this up and put it in a stew, it's great, but we're gonna cook it in a way that is going to unlock the sweetness. This thing will be as sweet as an apple when we're done. We're cooking in a very simple and very traditional way, and so we're gonna go step by step and watch this, and we're gonna try it out. We're gonna cook up some buffalo strips as well, cook it over the fire, and so nothing better than some nice buffalo and some nice red bell pepper cooked together out on an open fire. We're gonna show you how it's done. So the first thing we got to do is got to dig out a little bit of a pit. You can't see it very well, but this is about 1.5 feet deep, and I'm just going to use a piece of wood to dig this out. Make a nice trough around the edge. And then on the upper part here, you see these two flat rocks. We're going to roast some buffalo. We're going to put them on some skewers and roast them in there. I'm going to get some outer bark of a juniper. This is the best thing in the region for starting a fire. Unfortunately, we had huge rainstorms, and so this is pretty wet, but it's still such a good fire starter that's going to be fine. You don't want to get too much
of the inner bark. You just want to get the outer bark so you don't damage the tree, and then make a nice tinder nest. And once you got a good nest all roughed up, gonna rough up some more out here and use it as a base to put underneath, and start stacking the sticks and get ready to use some flint and steel. Now for flint and steel, I use char cloth. I've done a video about how to make this. It's usually made out of cotton. You just put it in this Altoid tin and burn it in a fire, and then use it to start a flint and steel fire. Now I'm not doing flint and steel, I'm doing agate and steel. I've got a piece of agate and do a couple flakes, and now you have a nice ember burning. We go ahead and put it in our juniper bark tinder nest, and you blow gently, and really quickly you start to get a flame. Now this should be easier to do, but again, this bark was soaking wet, but it still worked great. And still had to tend to it a little bit. Start putting a few twigs on, but I had to blow a little bit more, again, because it was wet. But the nice thing is, even if it's windy, a flint and steel fire with char cloth like this, the windy weather will actually help get the fire going. Now once we get it going, we gotta build up the flame, but the important thing is to build up some coals, because we're going to cook these peppers directly on the coals. So we're gonna put a few bigger pieces of wood here, and you see there's those two rocks that I'm going to be funneling coals over to also roast. So that's what I'm doing right here, is I'm starting to move them into that trough so we can roast the buffalo meat as well while we're cooking the peppers. Now the peppers themselves, we just throw them right in the coals. You don't want to have open flame, but you want some nice white hot coals. I'm going to throw a green pepper in for good measure and see how it does. I've never done this with green peppers, but it's the same. They have so much moisture inside that they're gonna work great. Now you have to tend them, but you can burn all the way through, but they won't burn. If you see this blackened side, this is actually good. It's the outer skin separating, and when it separates from the source of moisture inside, then it will blacken, but the actual pepper itself is still fine inside, boiling in its own juices. You can see this on the outside. When the skin separates, you can see just how quickly it will burn. But again, on the inside, it's just fine. Got some buffalo shish kebab skewers. We're gonna go ahead and roast these in this corner over here. Might as well maximize the use of what we're doing with the fire. And things are looking pretty good. And these are about ready to take out, and these need a little more roasting.
We're ready to take these off now, and if you're looking at these look charred to pieces. They're not. So we're gonna take them out, and these coals are so hot, I'm even gonna scoot back a little because these are insanely hot. Now this looks like I've ruined my dinner, but I haven't. The nice thing about cooking in this old-fashioned traditional way that the tribes in the Southwest did, putting it directly in the coals, not in the flames, put it in coals, there's so much moisture trapped inside of these peppers that they boil and steam all of the fruit inside. Because this is a fruit, it's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. They steam it, and in doing so, that makes a chemical reaction that unlocks the sugars. So these are going to be as sweet as an apple. We're gonna go ahead and open these up, and you're gonna see, once we take off this blackened outside, you can see that I'm peeling off here, they're as red as can be underneath all this. It just steams, it takes the skin right off, and what you have underneath is a beautiful rich red that is caramelized and is sugary. It is literally sweet, and what an absolutely delicious treat this is gonna be. You don't even have to season it. If we wanted to, we could put a little, little garlic on, a little seasoning salt, but just as it is, again, look at this, taking off this skin. You can't do this normally, but the boiling separates the skin from the outside, and the skin doesn't give you any nutritional value. It's got certain chemicals in it that are hard to break down to keep smaller insects and rodents from eating it, because the goal of this plant is for an animal to eat it whole and digest the seeds, poop them out somewhere else. But we've outsmarted the plant, and you can see just how gloriously red that is. So we're gonna try these out. So this again, this is blindingly hot to the touch. It's been directly in the fire. but also it's steamed. And as you know, steam is a great conductor of energy. So I might need to let these cool off a little bit, but you can see this skin comes right off. Get rid of that black burnt skin on the outside. And you can see how soft and pliable it is. These things are going to taste delicious. You can see how many juices are coming out. Now, if we were out in the wilderness, I would dump this into a pot, a clay pot, and we would use this as flavoring for a stew. But all of this juice is from, again, the insides of this boiling, which is, again, these were boiling inside, which makes an entirely different flavor profile than you've ever had with one of these. But we're gonna go ahead and dump all this out. So we got these cooled off a bit, and we're gonna go ahead and open one of these. I opened one a little earlier and filmed, and I'm doing a little bit of a reshoot here. So normally when you open these up, just tons of steam comes out, and the flesh of this fruit is beautiful. It's red, and it is so flavorful. It's as sweet as an apple, and it is so rich with flavor that you wouldn't have any other way. If you were to cook this, if you were to cut up these same red bell peppers, cut them up, put them in a stew, stir fry them, it's a different flavor. This unlocks an entirely unique flavor profile. Now you take some of this buffalo here, and you got some of the juices down below from this amazing red bell pepper. So good. No salt, no pepper. I mean, red bell peppers, but no peppers. This is an incredible flavor profile, completely in and of itself. It caramelizes. Cooking it in the fire, it boils in its own juices, it separates out the skin from the outside, and you're left with something that would have been a treat. Now, in the southwest United States and northwestern Mexico, the sweetest things in that realm are agave roasts and pepper roasts like this. You roast this pepper, this is the sweetest candy to the ancient people. So this would have been something that would have made you really happy. If you can imagine the bright red color, the sweetness, if you imagine sitting by the fire and seeing it blacken all over, you think of little kids sitting by the fire, getting excited, and it's like, oh, you know you're gonna have, this is the equivalency of candy. It's like Halloween. To roast these in the fire would have been an event. So again, this is a rich traditional part of southwestern United States and northwestern Mexico. And again, I recommend you try it yourself. Go ahead, get some red bell peppers, throw them directly in the coals and roast them, and you're gonna have a new flavor profile that you've never had before. So hope you enjoyed seeing this video, and always remember that life is a gift. So never stop learning and never stop exploring. We'll see you next time.